On this edition of the Dimp Digital Podcast, Apps is joined by Marc Smith, Biff, and they go through their E3 highlights.
This could go down as one of the biggest announcements that's ever happened at E3.
They deep dive into the world of The Witcher 3.
It's probably the best game that's been specifically released for the new generation consoles, I would say.
And finally, they give their early impressions of Batman, Arkham Knight.
If you lived in Gotham after the last two matches, you'd fucking move out, wouldn't you?
All that and much, much more on the Dimp Digital Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Dimp Digital Podcast. We're on episode number 33, and this time you've got myself, Apps, and Marc Smith, Biff. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Excellent, good to have you back. It's been over 6 months, I think, since you was last back on here.
I've been busy, haven't I? I had a lot of fingers and a lot of pies.
A lot of fingers and a lot of pies. Just trying to avoid us is what I was told by inside sources. Didn't want to come back. That is what I was told. So last week, obviously, we've had E3. It's the biggest gaming event of the entire calendar. The guys, without me, whilst I was on holiday, done a full blow-by-blow account of the games and the announcements. So we're not going to do that on this particular show, but I thought it'd be good if we could just catch up on some of our personal highlights and chat about the stuff that resonated with us and what we're actually looking forward to. So I asked you to compile a list of 5 things that caught your eye, and I did the same too. 3 of them were actually the same, so we've got 3 that were actually the same sort of announcements or games, but we've got 2 unique choices each, and I'll start with one of yours. And the opening one that you gave me was that the Xbox One is going to get backwards compatibility for some Xbox 360 titles. Now, Biff, you're a PlayStation owner. You had a 360. Why are you poking your nose into Microsoft and seeing what they're doing? What are you getting out of that?
Well, basically, when it was sort of announced, people were going mental, going yeah, and I was like, Microsoft have sold you something for £400, and as a treat, they're letting you play old games on it, and you're over the moon about it.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know why people are so happy about it. I'll be like, well, the reason I bought an Xbox One is to play Xbox One games, not to play Xbox 360. It doesn't scale them up or anything, does it? It just keeps them the same.
Same as, and it's with some titles only. Yeah.
I don't understand what people are getting out of that. Why would they be happy that they can play games that they had on an old console, on a new console, but just get charged £400 for the
pleasure
privilege?
So.
Yeah.
I think what it is, it's about having options, isn't it? It's I've got my Xbox 360 still here. I don't want to switch it on again. I can't be bothered. It's retired. I want it to stay retired. Much like you said, I bought an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4 to play the new games. However, there's one game in particular, the Walking Dead series by Telltale, where the game save is linked to my 360 account. And as of yet, they've not found a way to transfer the save over to the new console. So if I was to then start on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, I'd probably lose all of my choices through the last 2 games, which would really bother me on a personal note. But if they allow backwards compatibility and allow me to buy the 360 version of the game, put it in my Xbox One, keep my save, then I'll be happy. But that's all pie in the sky. You're saying it's not worth having. Would you not prefer just to have the PlayStation 4 have backwards compatibility just for an option? I mean, it should have been there from day one. Let's be honest. It should be there from day one on both consoles. But we knew that wasn't the case.
I mean, not really. I mean, if you had, the Xbox 360. Did that play Xbox games? Like the original Xbox games?
Yes.
How many original Xbox games did you play on your Xbox 360?
None. I wasn't interested.
Me neither. PS3, how many PS2 games did you play on it? Or PS2, how many PS1 games did you play on it?
No, none again.
Exactly. So I don't see the point in it. I don't see why anyone would do it. But,
no.
Microsoft has done it, and people are over the moon and really happy about it. So maybe I'm missing something, but good luck to them.
No, I think that it's kind of like people have been asking for that quite a lot. It's been one of those things. Everyone complained about it, and I think you've laid out some good points there. That practically, many people might not use it. I mean, I say that. I know the Logan Hall and some of the others, they tried to get us to play Modern Warfare 2, didn't they, this week? And I wasn't interested. But like, now it's backwards compatibility. If that's one of the games, we could all jump on it and play that. That would be easy for them. But I think what it does show is that Microsoft are listening to their fan base a little bit. And I think, practically, I don't think it's going to get much use out of it. Like I said, I can only reel off one example where I would personally use it. I think Phil Spencer's doing a good job over there of connecting with the fans and making it seem as though they're doing things for the fans. One thing that might come out of this, though, is we've had a lot of remasters coming out. Loads. In fact, more than ever. Now, if backwards compatibility becomes quite widespread amongst the Xbox fans, then there won't be a need for the remasters to take place. And for example, say if this backwards compatibility arrived at PlayStation, you're actually going to go out and buy the Uncharted trilogy late this year, aren't you? Because you've not played Uncharted 3. I believe you've played 1 and 2. Yeah. If, backwards compatibility existed, would you not just be able to pop Uncharted 3 in your PS4 and play that rather than spend another 30, 40 quid on a remastered set?
I mean, you are right there. You could just do that. It would be a lot cheaper. The only thing I would defend it is that it is sort of remastered, so it looks a lot better, and they said they're going to change the way it plays slightly so it's a bit more modern. And so, I do understand what you're saying, though. So it would work out a lot cheaper, and it would get rid of the remasters and stop people, just bringing out games that you used to have, because like Final Fantasy is obviously coming out again, isn't it?
Well, so they're doing a remake, aren't they, of 7? And there's a remastered version of the PC port that's coming out later this year. It's very confusing. So a remake's a bit different, because a remake, they're going to build the game from the ground up again. It's almost like picking up a game that it's coming on to like over a decade old now. I mean, it's nearly 20 years old, so that's going to be remade from the ground. Whereas a remaster tends to be like The Last of Us and like GTA, where they upscale the graphics and it plays the same as it was. They might tweak certain things there that didn't work, but essentially there's a slight difference. But the Uncharted trilogy is arriving late this year, and that's something that you're going to purchase. What it does do, actually, thinking about it on the other side of things, I've got the PlayStation Now beta that I've been playing, which is the streaming service, so you can actually play old games through that rather than having to fire up the PS3. I can stream them through my PlayStation 4 at the moment, and they've released the pricing strategy, or the trial pricing strategy for the beta testers like me, and it is quite high. It's kind of like £4 or £5 for like 10 days worth of usage, which isn't ideal. So for people that want to play older games, having backwards compatibility would be ideal. And I think it kind of makes this whole investment that PlayStation have put into this PlayStation Now a little bit redundant, because Xbox owners can just put a disc in, whereas we'd have to pay X amount of money to play them. But practically, we'll see how it will get used. It's not going to be every single game, and I think the publishers have to agree to do it. So there's going to be publishers out there that are working on remasters that will think, no, we're not going to let you have that backwards compatible, because we want to make money out of a new remastered version.
Yeah, that's the only other thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's good for certain people. It's not good for others, and we'll watch this space and see how widespread it is and what sort of difference it makes. Star Wars Battlefront is one of my highlights I've put on there. I wasn't really interested in Battlefront when it was first announced, if I'm honest, but the demo they showed at E3 was stunning. It really was, and I don't agree with what the guy said last week about it looking like Battlefield reskinned. I didn't get that feeling personally.
No, I didn't. I didn't at all.
It looked a lot different. It seemed quite unique. You've even got a third person view as well as first person viewpoints to choose from. Jet jumping. There was a co-op sort of horde mode type thing in there, and it had all the bells and whistles that a Star Wars fan would want, like the sound, like the music. And I think it's going to be good. And I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, as you know. I only watched the films of the original trilogy a few months back because you lent them to me.
Yeah.
You love Star Wars. Was you impressed with what Battlefront showcased?
Yeah, I really was. I thought it looked really cool. Just the amount of different vehicles there was that you can control, and like like you say, just like the sounds. It really felt sort of
like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars, yeah. Basically. So I thought I was really impressed by that, and I'll be like keeping my eye close on that. I think it looks really, really good, and I thought they'd done quite a good job of sort of showcasing it and getting people's sort of like whetting people's appetites for it, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I was not really interested. I was kind of like, well, it's a first-person online multiplayer shit. I'm not really going to be that interested, but it took me by surprise, and that's why it made it on my particular list. I mean, are you going to get this sort of at a high level? Do you think you would be looking at getting this later in the year, or does the whole it's only multiplayer put you off slightly?
to be honest, I don't really like multiplayer games, but because it looks so good, it would be something that interested me. Like, I wouldn't have ever bought what was the one that was on Xbox One that got released?
Titanfall, yeah.
I wouldn't have bought that because it's just not my sort of thing. But because it's Star Wars, and I would, probably look into getting it because it did look really, really cool, I thought.
Yeah, no, I'll be interested to see how they got these characters called heroes that you can work up to get in, so you can be like Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. It'll be interesting to see how they implement those guys into the gameplay, because they look obviously like more powerful than your average sort of rebels or stormtroopers. So I'd like to see a bit more gameplay around that. But we saw some aerial combat as well.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't as expansive as what was teased years and years ago. We could go up into the sky and do it, but it looked quite good taking down the big ATT walker and tying the ropes around, tripping it up. That was all in there. So
yeah.
It looks like they're gonna. If you're a fan of Star Wars, I think you're gonna enjoy this. It's got all the bells and whistles that you'd expect, and it was one for me. It's from E3. It's from DICE. It's from the Battlefield guys, which I'm not overly fond of myself. Just hope the fucking thing works, because I know that Battlefield 3 in particular had an awful launch. So as long as it works, I think people that are fans of that are going to have a good time. I don't think personally it looked like a reskinned Battlefield game.
No, I didn't either, to be honest.
No. Project Morpheus. This is your last unique highlight, Biff. Now we've known that this virtual reality component's been coming for quite a while. I didn't see any new details or concrete details about a release date or price. So how comes it caught your eye this time? Because surely it was just more of what we already know.
Well, basically, it wasn't so much that it caught my eye. It was basically that not a lot was said about it. But I thought virtual reality would be,
sure.
This is like this is brand new sort of stuff, and I thought this would be massive. And it was really sort of low key.
Yeah, you're right.
Nothing really happened, and I was a bit gutted by that. So the only reason I mentioned it to you is not because I was like, oh, there's loads of new information out about it. I was like, there's not really any new information out about it, really.
Right. Okay.
And they made some information available about the screens and what 1080p and things like that, but they didn't actually bring any new information out, any prices, specific concrete date or anything like that, which that's why I put it down, basically.
No. So the two things you've mentioned, Xbox backwards compatibility and Project Morpheus, is because it's not as good as you think it should have been. Basically. Yeah,
basically, I wasn't happy about it. I'm just looking to pick holes in it. If I was there for the catering, I probably would have picked holes in that, but I wasn't. No. But basically. Yeah, I
think I was strange. I mean, it's one of those things that's really difficult to demo, isn't it? Because you can't have a bloke up there on stage with a headset on and a screen. You don't get the same feeling of. You can't show virtual reality without people trying it.
No,
so it's one of those. But I was surprised there was no release date, or at least a month, or a pricing, something like that, because it's meant to be coming Q1 next year, and that is not far away when you look about it. To get the details out there, and I imagine they want people pre-ordering it. Looking at a price point, that's going to be the key to see whether this takes off for me. What would you be willing to pay? Top end Project Morpheus headset. Oh, there's only one version of it. So,
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it depends. Sort of. I don't know. If I went round someone's house and had a go at it and I was blown away by it,
that's the thing.
You sort of think, well, sort of the sky's the limit, sort of thing. But then there's talk of it giving you motion sickness and bits like this, and I think, would I want to pay £300 to throw up?
Yeah,
probably not. But probably still would look into buying it, even though even if I did. But yeah, I don't really know sort of what top end. I don't know. What would you pay? What would you think?
I don't know. Anything more than £200, and I think I'd have to sort of turn my nose up it, because you can get a PlayStation 4 console for $250 if you wait on UK hot deals and whatnot. And when it starts getting that expensive, I just think, I don't know whether people will buy into it. And like you said, it will make some people sick. You don't know how you're going to react to it. I mean, I've had a very limited go at the Oculus Rift. We went to EGX Res, but that's not enough for me to go, right, I definitely would buy this, because it matters. Also, the big key is the games. What's going to be playable on this? How's it going to play? If it's a load of old shit, then it's a load of old shit and it's not worth having. Then they're going to need to make sure they get the games out there and price it strategically.
I mean, I think that was the problem with the Kinect, because the technology was there, but they never had anything that was any good to play on it, really, did they?
No.
But it worked quite well, I thought. But things like the Wii...
You had one, didn't you?
Yeah, I had it, but I just thought it was just crap. I was like, well, what can I do? But you look at the Wii, and I know it's sort of it's completely different. It's not virtual reality, but it's sort of more... sort of hands-on sort of gaming. The games were so good with it that people sort of bought into it more.
Yeah, it's a new venture, wasn't it? Much like what VR is probably going to be. It's going to be it's going to make a splash on the gaming scene. It's going to be a new way of playing games, and the Wii, that appealed to everyone.
Yeah. I know it's different, but it is, like you say, it's a new venture, isn't it? And Nintendo got the games right, which is why it took off so well.
Yeah, no. Be interested to see Project Morpheus. I'm sure we'll have some more details. If they do another PlayStation experience later on this year, I imagine that's going to be the big coming out party for the pricing and the release date and whatnot, but we'll have to watch this space on that one. My last unique highlight of E3 was The Last Guardian. Now that for me was a big announcement. Those that aren't plugged into the gaming world as deeply as I am, and I know that others are, probably will scratch their heads at this, but this is a massive deal. It's been in development since about 2007. We've seen and heard nothing for around 6 years, since I think it's 2009 when the last reveal came at E3. Most people, including me, thought the project was dead in the water. Then suddenly in 2015 we get a new gameplay trailer of The Last Guardian. Fumito Ueda, who directed the Ico and Shadow of Colossus, is the director of this game, so that's good news. He's heading up this one. Those games I've not played them, but I know that Tom Adcock has played the Shadow of Colossus, one of his favourite games of all time. I know Dave has played Ico, he likes that, and a lot of other people, they get a lot of praise. No firm release date for The Last Guardian, but 2016 was hashed about. I imagine you're a bit of an outsider to this and not really that plugged into it. What did you make of this demo on the surface, just looking at it?
To be honest, I sort of saw the gameplay and I didn't realise what the hype was about. There's just some little kid walking around with a massive dog, and the dog would jump about.
Dog's got wings, mate.
I don't know. I just looked at it and I thought it didn't look like amazing. I didn't think the graphics were spectacular, and there was no sort of, I don't know. I wasn't really that blown away by it, but I suppose it's got a bit of a following, and
yeah, that's the thing.
If something's got a following, then people will, always build a lot of hype about it, wouldn't they? Really, but
yeah, it's good. It's been waiting for so long. People have been after it. I mean, it's one of those things because Shadow of the Colossus it's in some people's eyes the greatest game ever made. It's a real stripped down game with no bells and whistles, but it still is entertaining. And it's the same guy that's directed this. It's built up this hype for it. I must admit, I mean, the fact that Last Guardian's coming is great news. But actually, if you watching the trailer, it was a little bit underwhelming. I was like, is that it? Is that all we're going to get to see today?
That's I thought that as well. I wasn't really blown away by it.
Nah.
But I suppose if something's got, I mean, like, if you actually think about the Star Wars Battlefront, nothing in that game is sort of groundbreaking either. But because Star Wars is such a huge following, people are excited about it. And I suppose it's the same with this. If it's got a big following, then people just get excited, don't they?
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I mean, hopefully it'll be out next year and we can all get our hands to play it. But I'm hoping that it's going to be a good one. It's going to live up to the hype. And I want to play Ico and Shadow of the Colossus before that comes out. They were on PlayStation Now on that beta. And as I've come back from holiday, I checked and they're not there anymore. So I don't know. Now that suggests to me that either A, for whatever reason they decided to pull it off, or B, Sony have gone, right, The Last Guardian's come, let's get a HD remaster of these out.
Yeah.
And they can have that. Although it's already been remastered. It's a PlayStation 2 game, both of them, and they were put onto PlayStation 3 in HD. So if they do that again, that'll be unbelievable. But I wouldn't mind paying for that and buying them. I want to play them.
Exactly.
But in terms of people that are plugged into these games and have been waiting for this game, I mean, this could go down as one of the biggest announcements that's ever happened at E3. Everyone just started losing their mind when it first came out. It's craziness. Let's move on to some of our highlights that we both picked out and that we both like looking at. Horizon Zero Dawn. And this is something new, Biff.
Yeah.
Last time you were on, you were very critical, saying there's not a lot of new stuff going on. Yet you weren't overly impressed with what you saw here. Again, picked it as a highlight, but picking holes in it immediately. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just a depressed person. I don't know. I sort of saw it, and I didn't think the graphics were that good, and I wasn't that blown away by it. Again, I was a bit underwhelmed. But it is something new, and so I'm sort of I'll keep a closer eye on it and that. But it just looked like robot dinosaurs that were just wandering around for some reason. Obviously, I don't know any of the details of it. No. It looked like there was some sort of machine versus humans, and the machines have evolved into animals.
Yeah. Well, essentially, what I understand is that there's been an apocalypse, so the world's ended, and this is after the apocalypse part has ended. So humans are are pretty much extinct, and they don't know anything different other than this world where it looks like some sort of AI or robot has taken over the world. So it'll be interesting to see how they put that into context for people playing it, whether you can actually sort of believe this has happened. It is a fresh take on things. I really liked the way they took down the big, I think it was like a T-Rex, but where they had the bow and arrow, she shoot a bow and arrow and then attach it to the floor, like peg it in, do 3 or 4 of them, held it in place and then put it down. That was I quite like the look of that little mechanic there, being able to just put the big bastard in place and then absolutely unleash hell on him.
Yeah, I don't know. It could just bothered me that she shot a bow and arrow into metal. I was like, how strong is she? That was my main concern by it.
It must be the tools, mate. It must be the tools they've got, futuristic tools.
Yeah, I need to closer look at this bow. That's what I need to see.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some craft in there where maybe you have to craft a bow that when you go through certain armour. I don't know. I'm making stuff up for them now. It's Guerrilla Games who are responsible for the Killzone series. You weren't Shadowfall's biggest fan, was you, when you first got your PlayStation 4?
Probably one of their worst fans. That was a terrible game. So again, if it's anything to go by Killzone, then for the love of God, don't get me started. But yeah,
that's sort of pedigree you've got here with Horizon Zero.
Yeah.
Guerrilla Games, your favourite franchise makers.
Terrible.
Some people think they're good games, Killzone. I mean, I played it a brief part around yours, and again, first person shooter. I was like, yeah, we've done this before. It was a launch game, to be fair, so they never stand up. I mean, the pair of us never gone down to play Knack because that looks so bad. That was a launch game.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse. But as I said, it's something fresh. It's something new.
It's something different in it.
And hopefully, it doesn't just play out to be like a lazy open world tower thing where you got to climb up towers to unlock bits of the map. Shit like that we can do with that. I want some new stuff, please, Guerrilla Games, if you can. Now let's move on to one of the big main events. Uncharted 4 got to be a highlight for both of us. I imagine, and I'm guessing here, this is probably going to be one of the only parts where you don't pick a hole in it, or have you got a problem with Uncharted 4?
Well, I think the problem is that when I was on looking for the E3 videos and that, Uncharted was one of the first ones I saw.
Right.
So then when I saw
set the pace, didn't it?
Yeah, I was like, well, this is amazing. And then I saw some bird in a crap bow running around shooting a dinosaur. I was like, well, what is this? Drake's absolutely mopped you up here. You should have got in here first. So everything I've seen after Drake has just been a bit underwhelming. But it looked amazing. I mean, it really did look amazing. Yeah.
It is a great set piece demo, wasn't it? And
yeah,
I don't know if you saw. You probably didn't. I watched the whole press conference. I caught up with it, and it was a live demo that someone was actually playing. And the first time I went to play it, it froze.
Oh no!
The bit at the beginning, Drake was just standing there. He wouldn't move, and I was like, "Oh, they're just showing that it sort of seamlessly goes from a cutscene into the game, and you don't always realise." But no, they hit the reset button to restart the whole fucking cutscene again and do it. And I was like, "Oh god!"
Some geezer behind the curtain got fired.
Yeah, he's lost his job. He's on benefits. It was really good though. I mean, it's set pieces all over the place. It's all out action. One of the bits I pulled out of it is like, as soon as he walked to that crowd of people and bumped into that bloke, it was so natural the way he animated and just reacted to him. And I was like, that's excellent. Just the way he normally, like if you go into Assassin's Creed, you bump into people, there's pots flying everywhere, and mental. Whereas he sort of wriggled his way through the crowd. How excited are you for Uncharted 4? It's called A Thief's End, so a lot of people are saying that could be the end of the franchise. You've played 1 and 2. And you're going to play 3, presumably, in this trilogy.
Yeah.
4's got to be one of your more anticipated games.
Yeah, definitely. It does look really good. I mean, it's done by Naughty Dog as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And they've done The Last of Us, so they can do no wrong. Not like Guerrilla. But yeah. I mean, I'm properly psyched about it. I think it'll be a really good game. And it'll probably be. I think when's the game released? Next year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's around March time.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed it's not coming this year? Because initially we were told that it was going to come holiday 2015. They pushed it back. Is that a bit of a disappointment for you?
I mean, I thought they might have released it along with Halo 5 as sort of Xbox versus PlayStation, the big, I mean, that Drake's Fortune sort of their big one, isn't it? PlayStation's big Uncharted, sorry.
Yeah.
It's their sort of big release title for PlayStation, and it's gone through PS3 and PS4. So you'd have thought they would have gone head to head, but maybe they don't fancy it.
No, or maybe there's so many errors like it's not fucking starting first time. Like, we need to get this shit out of the game before we release it, otherwise people are going to absolutely crap on us.
Yeah.
This could mean that after Uncharted 4's done, Naughty Dog could be freed up to work on The Last of Us 2.
Well,
or they could go back and do an Uncharted 5. Which would you prefer out of the two? If you had to... You're head of Naughty Dog, they've installed you, and they're going, right, Biff, we've done Uncharted 4, we can go and do The Last of Us 2, probably one of the greatest games ever made. How do we follow that up? Or we can go for Uncharted 5, we know what we're doing, we've got Uncharted 4 as a baseline on the PS4. What do you want us to do?
to be honest, the Last of Us is, I'm sort of frightened because I enjoyed it so much that if they do another one, I think, well, you've really, really got to do something here to pull this out of the bag. Yeah. It's sort of like a losing battle. Like I don't think you'll be able to top it, sort of thing.
No, I totally agree with that. It is one of those things where I'd quite happily just say, yep, that was it. You can have that and ride off into the sunset and leave The Last of Us, but
it won't happen.
No, secretly they're going to do another one.
Definitely.
The thing is, I don't think there's any need to do the story of Ellie and Joel again, but it skips forward 20 years from when the disaster first happens. There's a lot of stuff they can do in there, like prequel wise.
Yeah. I mean, you are right. There's so much they can do. There is absolutely so much. They could not even touch Ellie and Joel, and they could make another 2 or 3 games out of it, really, couldn't they? No. But whether they'd be any good or not, that's the problem.
No, that is it. So, where are you going? Uncharted 5, or are we going Last of Us 2?
Yeah, probably go Uncharted.
Bankrupt Naughty Dog is what you're going to do. Absolute shocking sequel follow-up, not good enough. Yeah, no, I think that's where they're going to go. It's where the money's at. People will be clamouring after it. It'll be another 2.5 years before we see anything of that anyway, so there'll be plenty of hype around that. Now, there's been plenty of hype around our very last highlight that both of us have picked out in Fallout 4. So we had the reveal trailer, which was a bit short. Well, they didn't give away a lot, did they, in the first trailer a few weeks ago? They really kept their cards close to their chest. But this was a full blowout of Fallout 4. We got the release date, November the 10th. Told you so. 2015. He was like, no chance. We got a lot of gameplay footage. We got a little glimpse into how you can build your own settlements. We've got voice actors. The gunplay looks a little bit better. Just before we get into Fallout 4, just with Fallout 3, I just want you to just set the scene. Give us a few sentences just to describe your feelings towards Fallout 3, because you fucking loved it. I fucking loved it.
I mean, it was a bit of a life sapper, to be honest. I just sunk so many hours into it, but it was just so good. And you speak to people that have played it. You can speak to 5 different people, talk about the same sort of mission, and 5 different people all do it completely differently, and all have a different outcome. And I think that's why it's so good, because like there was the town with the atom bomb in it. I forgot what it's called.
Megatron, wasn't it? You decided to blow it up. I decided not to, and from that, how many different scrabbly bits come off that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just so good. The fighting, the story, how long it took, the detail of it all, and just like the little bits. And I sort of like the retro feel of it, even though it's in the future. So it's sort of 1950s, 1940s, but it's in the future. It's really weird how they've done that, but it's really good.
Isn't it? Yeah, I like that as well. I like the music that it plays through the Pip-Boy and just everyone's fashion sense. It's really clever the way they've done that. That's probably the big thing that came out of it was the release date of the 10th of November. Get good news, surely.
Oh yeah, definitely. As long as it's not like Assassin's Creed and you're sort of bobbling around all over the place and nothing works. But yeah, I mean, I'll be getting that, definitely.
Yeah. One of the other details that came out afterwards was that dog meat can't die. I wasn't happy with this. Not that I want dog meat to die, but if he's going to be a companion, there's always the connection with dog meat was trying to keep dog meat alive. Yeah. And if now we've lost that, I'm just wondering what's.
He'll be worthless, won't he?
Yeah.
Because once he dies, you'll think, well, you're not the same dog.
No, yeah. Whereas in this one, obviously, he's not going to die.
Yeah.
He's invincible. And I think, what's the point taking him out? He's going to be helpful. Or maybe they've tied him into the story somehow. I don't know. Maybe there's something they need him for. Certain bits, maybe. I don't know. But I was a bit disappointed in that, because I quite like the risk-reward. Should I take dog meat out to take these raiders on?
Well, you never did anyway. You left him in your little house.
I know, exactly. Yeah, but I liked having him at home then. I was like, that's my little story of dog meat. I was so fond of him. I left him at home.
He never saw the light of day. That's probably why they'd done it, because the RSPCA called and said, let that dog out for the love of God, will you?
It's an absolute shit out in the capital. There's nothing for a dog to be doing out there. There. It looks like he can scavenge through and stuff, which will save a bit of time going into bits and bobs, and hopefully he can do a few other things as well. But one of the big things they showed was that you can build your own settlements, it looked like, so you can grab a scrap and resources and build like your own hub almost I have found that really interesting. That's the sort of thing that I could lose 20 hours in, just doing that, building up a town, setting up supply lines, defending it. What do you make of that little addition? Because that does open up a lot more options of people rather than just doing the quests. You've now got a settlement potentially to look after.
Yeah, I mean, it is an extra thing on the game, like an extra angle on it. To be honest, it's not my cup of tea. I've mentioned this to you, like where you think, like I'll sink like hours into it, and I look at it, I think that looks crap. I wish I hadn't bothered.
Yeah.
And nothing will make sense, and nothing will work properly. And I'll have turrets pointed at my own front door, so when I leave the door, I get blown away. I'll ruin it. I'll mess it up. Yeah. So to be honest, I don't know how useful that'll be to me, but I can imagine a lot of people getting on board with that, and I think it is a good addition. Just on a personal note, not for me.
No. What about the voice actors? Because it's confirmed that there's gonna be voice actors. Now, in previous Fallout games, it was all just text. Your character was just text. What do you make of that? Good or bad?
I mean, Neeson was in the third one, wasn't he?
And Neeson was your dad, wasn't he? So
yeah.
But your character you're playing has a voice now, whereas before you were selecting just text, wasn't you? Text options, and you wouldn't hear him speak it. Now they've got lines for the actors, presumably.
Right,
they're going to read out, so it'll probably give them a little bit more personality. But I've heard some people saying, "Oh, but I've already decided what their voice is in my head. This is taking that away."
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sort of because, it doesn't really specify. Yeah, because of his voice. Yeah, I know what they mean by that. Sorry, I had to work it out in my head for some reason. I don't know, really. It's not really a major thing for me. No.
The only thing that bothers me is that with the Mass Effect series, it has this, and obviously with The Witcher, which we'll come on to in a bit, you've got a voice actor that does it for you. In particular, with Mass Effect, sometimes it wouldn't say the sentence because there's not enough room for it, but it's almost like a thought, and you say, all right, I'll say that, and then what Shepard used to say was completely different. He'll go mental at someone, like shout at him, you're like, fucking hell, Shepard, I didn't want to say it like that. And it puts you in that ambiguous stage where you can end up saying things that you didn't mean to, and you're like, oh, bloody hell, that's not how I wanted to come out. But at least with the text with Fallout 3, word for word, you knew exactly what this guy was saying.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what was going on. But I think it's needed. If they want to introduce any cutscenes or just give it a bit more personality, they need to have a voice actor in there. He can't be a silent character all the way through. And
no.
I think it's a natural progression of games. You need to have these. It baffles me why some Nintendo games are still all text. You need to have voice actors these days, as far as I'm concerned. We had a little quick look at the gunplay as well. I don't know if you noticed this, but it actually looked reasonable. I think one of the criticisms people had of Fallout 3, we had the VAT system, which was fantastic, one of the best things in the game, but if you wanted to just play without the VAT system, it was a bit janky, wasn't it?
It was, but I liked it because it made it feel sort of realistic. So
yeah,
it was. So. Yeah, but when you were getting everything run towards you, you would shit yourself, and you would often miss, and it was more realistic. So if, I don't know, like a scorpion or a mole rat run at you, you would 9 times out of 10 miss it unless you use the VAT system. And I felt it made it more realistic, and I don't know, gave it a bit more of a difference than what other games had, because other games, you just blow something away first time. But I thought it made it a bit, I don't know, I quite like the feel of it. I like that.
Oh, because so on this new one, it looked like you can aim down sights. It looked a lot more smoother. Is that something that you would rather not have? Thinking about it, that you might tend to just not use the VAT.
Can you aim down the sights on the old one?
You know what? I can't even remember. I just remember trying to use the combat, and it wasn't accurate. Which, like you said, is realistic, because this guy just can't have a fucking vault. He didn't know it.
Yeah,
all he's done is play with his dad's BB gun once.
yeah.
Killed some rad roaches. That's it. So he's not going to be good with a gun. Whereas this seemed have more modern principles, and it seemed smoother. You could aim up and down. It looked to me like it is a slightly more modern take on the first person shooting, and the VAT system's still there.
Yeah, I saw that. That was all I was bothered about.
As long as it's there. Well, now correct me if I'm wrong. When you used to put the VATs on Fallout 3, it would freeze the game.
Yeah.
Completely. This looked like, and you only saw a couple of shots of it, but it looked like in slow motion the characters were still moving.
Right.
So you couldn't then spend half a day deciding what bit to aim, because in the background all the enemies are still moving towards you. What do you make of that? Because that potentially could make the game a little bit more difficult.
That wouldn't particularly bother me by that much.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if they're moving slowly, it just makes you rush a bit more, and again, make it a bit more realistic. And if you make mistakes, you make mistakes. So yeah, that's not really a big deal for me. But yeah, I mean, the VAT system,
it's great.
It's fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, as long as they bring in all the perks you could get for it. Like I used to have blood and guts or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, if you shot them, all their body parts would explode. Yeah,
as long as they got all that stuff still in there, I think I'm gonna be happy with this. Last thing, on Fallout 4 on the Microsoft press conference, it was announced that the Xbox One version would allow PC mods to be installed on Fallout 4 on their Xbox One systems. How do you feel about that as a PlayStation? And it's probably not likely to come to PlayStation. You're not going to install these mods that change the game for better or for worse.
I'm not a big fan of the mods, to be honest. Anyway, so again, not bothered. I like to play the game out it's meant to be made, not by some kid who thinks he knows better in his bedroom. Probably gets absolutely slammed for saying that, but that's how I feel. So
no, to be honest, I don't install a lot of mods on my PC. If I'm honest, the only ones I'll install are very light changes. It might make a change to correct a name, for example. Like for example, I think Game Dev Tycoon, it hasn't got the rights to say PlayStation, Nintendo, but you can tell what they're meant to be. And there's a mod you can download that corrects all the names so that it's all real names that you're familiar with, stuff like that. But in general, I'm like you. I don't like to install too many mods and change the game too much unless I've completely exhausted the whole game itself as it was meant to be played. Then maybe I'd put a mod on and see what fun I can have. But as a serious game play through, I'd never put a mod on. I couldn't handle that.
No, me neither.
That would annoy me. Well, that's our 5 top 3 top 5 E3 highlights. Just going to run through some of the other announcements really quickly. Just yes if you're interested, no if you're not bothered, or don't know if you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Shenmue 3.
Don't know. Was that on Sega game?
Yeah, so that was on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Shenmue 1. I think Shenmue 2 may have also been on the Dreamcast, but also you could get it on the original Xbox as well. And that's another game, almost like The Last Guardian, that's been so long that people have been asking for. It's now looks like it's coming to fruition. It's going to come to PlayStation and PC, it looks like, initially, and there's a Kickstarter campaign set up for it, so you can back the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter for, I think it's $29. It doesn't have a pounds conversion there, and that will give you a digital copy of the PlayStation 4 or PC version of the game when it comes out.
Right.
But I think it's broken records of how much money it's made in like the short period it went up. It set up a target of 3 million. It's already hit it.
Yeah.
So that's another one of those games where it's been, if you've been knocking around for a while, been interested in it, you've been waiting for that game for over a decade. So again, is it going to live up to the hype? Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I played the original on PlayStation. I thought it was really, really good.
Oh, really?
I don't think I would. No, I'm not really interested, to be honest. It's done.
Remake?
Nah.
Been it then.
Yeah.
Hitman.
Was there actually a gameplay trailer that came out?
It wasn't really. It was just a load of CG. It looked CG to me. Some people were saying, it's in engine, but it didn't look like there was any proper gameplay, like, how they'll demo the game. But they announced it basically and said it's going to be bigger open worlds for you to explore. It sounded like it was going to be released with not a lot of content, and through free DLC they would add more contracts and missions to it.
Right.
And they'll do things like they said they will release a contract for 48 hours only, and then you've got one chance to go at it. So if you fuck it up, that's it. It goes in your record as Agent 47's made a mess of it, which I think is quite an interesting idea. But what I'm worried about is the game releases with free contracts and they charge you 50 quid for it. And they're like, it's coming.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me.
No, that's one I've got my eye on. There's a lot, Shenmue and Final Fantasy Remake as well, but I like the Hitman series. I didn't play Absolution because I didn't like the direction it sort of went down. I've much preferred Hitman 2 and Blood Money and Contracts, that type of style of them. But
I think I played one as well on PlayStation 2. It's very good.
Yeah. Just Cause 3.
I don't know about that.
Have you played Just Cause 1 and 2?
I played Just Cause 2.
Yeah.
Completed that. it was
just a mess in it.
Yeah, it's just like being on crack. It was just insane. Everything's kicking off, and you're zip lining into absolutely anything, like a plane, and then you're on the wing, and then you take someone out of a jet plane. But it was just insane. It really was. It was good fun, but
Can you play through another game of that? So I've not played 1 or 2, so maybe it does interest me because I've not played 1 and 2, so it might seem fresh. But if you've already fucked up the whole of South America, then you might not want to do it a second time, or even a third time if you've played the first one. Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Absolutely no interest in that at all.
Excellent. Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
No, I didn't like the first one.
Biff. Doom.
No.
Reboot.
No.
Fucking Gears of War 4.
Not got an Xbox.
Well, if you did.
I would be interested then. Unless it's like Judgment, then I would burn it.
For Honor.
Don't know what that is.
That's like there's like a medieval.
Oh no, I did see that. Yeah, that looked weird. That did. I'd never
Ubisoft, stay away. That's what. Halo 5 again, no Xbox, but
yeah, that would interest me. Halo games are normally pretty good.
Another one for you, Rise of the Tomb Raider. That's got to interest you.
I do love Tomb Raider, but it's a bit.
It'll come to PlayStation 4 next year.
They'll be dead by then. No one will care. There'll be something else out.
Well, Uncharted 4 will be out, so then it won't be.
It won't be able to hold a flame to that, will it? So.
Mass Effect 4 Andromeda, they've called it. What the fuck does that mean?
No interest in Mass Effect. I know you go on about it and you love it, but I played the first game and I couldn't get to grips with it. So again, binned. So miserable, and I'm such a miserable human.
No, it's fine. It's good. That's what we want. No Man's Sky.
I missed that. I don't know what that is.
It's that massive open world space game. You must have seen it. On other releases. It's been going on for ages. It looks like there's nearly unlimited amount of planets to explore, and it's massive, but fine, don't know. Rainbow Six Siege.
I saw that. I thought that looked really good.
Terrorist Hunt's back. They call it Terror Hunt though.
Not hell. Why shorthand everything? What's the point? Terrorist.
Yeah, not needed, is it? But yeah, that's what I wanted out of that. That had to be the minimum requirement for me to be interested in it, and I'm interested in it, but I'm not sure if I'll get it because it seems like, again, multiplayer only, no campaign job. At least Rainbow Six Vegas had a decent, substantial campaign to go through as well.
Yeah.
Lastly, I wanted to mention, I don't know if this will interest you, but Xbox Game Preview is being launched later this year, and it's essentially early access. So what that means is a game that's in development still, you can pay a tenner for, and it will give you access to the full game when it releases, but you can then play early versions of it as it comes out. If that come to PlayStation, would that be anything you'd be interested in? Supporting early games and early access? Because I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with the whole early access thing.
I must admit, unless it was a banker, I think I'd probably not be interested. Again, being miserable. I mean, if it was something like Batman or, like a banker, you know it's going to be a good game. Halo's going to be a big release. Yeah. Drake's Unfortunate, or whatever it's called. I never remember the name of the game. Uncharted, yeah.
Just because the first one's called Drake's Fortune.
Uncharted. Unless it's going to be a banker, I wouldn't really bother. And then I'd play it and think, that's what I want. So, I don't know.
It won't happen because it's for indie games, really. So it's always
right, okay. So, no interest in that then, no.
No interest in that. Well, that'll do for E3. That's a fair amount of time we've spent on that. Let's move on to some actual games that we've been playing. Now, let's start with The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
My review is up. Got a 9.6. If you haven't watched the review, go and watch it now if you're listening. Dimp Digital, YouTube, done. You've not quite finished this, have you? You're still chugging through the main campaign. I think you've put a pin in it whilst Batman's out, but as it stands, does it deserve high praise?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the best game that's been specifically released for the new generation consoles, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't think anything has come close to it. It's massive. There's so much to do. And when you pay, I've said it before, you pay £45 for Killzone, you pay £45 for this.
Yeah.
Killzone should hang their heads in shame because it's not even, there's so much to do, so much to see.
Yeah.
And it is a really, really good game. I just overdone it. I just put too much time into it, faffing around.
Do you know how long you've clocked up?
I would imagine, even I know you've completed it, I would imagine I've done longer than you.
I've done 71 hours, I think, when I checked my completed save. But that's not to say that I haven't wasted another 10 hours restarting and fucking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
I know we've both done that.
Yeah,
you've got about 6 hours in, then
Yeah.
Then decided to restart it.
Mate, I made one wrong decision. I nearly restarted it again when I told you, didn't I?
When you bowed to the Emperor.
Yeah, I went, did you bow? And you went, no. I was like, no, I need to restart it. I don't want to bow then.
Charles Dance getting you to bow.
I was furious about that. That nearly got restarted. If I hadn't restarted it before, I would have restarted it just to change that one decision. But I thought I couldn't lose another 6 hours of my life to it.
Yeah. It's so good though, isn't it? It's an excellent game. How comes you've put a pin? You think you've just overdone it, or is it just dragging a little bit? Because I feel like the main campaign in certain places drags its heels a little bit when you're trying to get through that.
I think you're right. It does drag its heels, and the problem with it is as well, it's not the easiest storyline to follow in the world.
Nah.
And if you don't do the main story for 5-6 hours, and you've been talking to 100 other people, you come back to it and you go, "Who the hell are you? I have no idea what's going on now."
Yeah.
And then you play, and I ended up skipping a lot of the talking as well because it was just really, really getting on my nerves. I sat there for like about 25 minutes and I thought, I haven't actually done anything. I've turned my PlayStation on and I've had a conversation with someone virtual. I've not actually done anything constructive here, and it bothered me a little bit. So yeah, I think I've overcooked it and overplayed it too much, and it is dragging a little bit, but that's not to put you off the game. If anyone hasn't played it, it is quality.
No, it is such a good game. One of the things I didn't mention in my review was Gwent, the card game, which is like a mini game within the game. I actually think that could be a card game on its own. I find that really enjoyable. I haven't got the. I know I can't afford to get sucked into it too much though, because I wouldn't play the game.
Yeah,
Gwent is such a great little side addition to it.
It's a bit like that Hearthstone game.
I was going to say that. Do you think it could be its own game? Like
definitely.
Like an app, or if they did even a card version of it?
No, definitely. I reckon it would make money if that got released. It is its own little miniature game, and it's sort of quite complex, and I bet if you went on YouTube there'd be a lot of strategies to win it, and different cards and the best hands and etc. But I couldn't be bothered to sink any time into it. I was too busy talking to everyone.
No, that's it. That's the problem with it. I mentioned the secondary or the side quests, which are some of the best I've ever played in a video game. The amount of effort they've put into doing side quests, they're almost like mini stories, aren't they? They are.
I preferred the side quests to the main story.
I did as well.
It was much better.
They unravel.
I preferred doing that and killing monsters and doing Witcher contracts.
Well, that's the one thing I didn't touch upon in my review, because there's so much to put in. I thought this is going to go on for half hour if I don't start cutting back on things. But the contracts are really good, aren't they? So you go and get your contract, you go and speak to the person who's going to give it to you, you haggle for the amount of pay you're going to get, and you go after track the fucker down. Yeah,
you have to follow its footprints or blood prints or the smell of perfume with the run off of the bird. Or I thought they were the best things. By far, and to be honest, you could cut the main story out of the game, and there's still more than enough there to warrant a good 40-50 hours of gameplay. Yeah, probably more.
If it was just The Witcher, Geralt's Adventures, where he just goes and problem solves in no big grand Skellige, he'd absolutely mop up, I think.
Yeah.
It's because they're so well crafted, though, that all the contracts, all the side quests, they've got purpose. And we've all played open world games where you just pick up a note, you go to a treasure chest, and then that's it. It gives you the XP, or there's no real setup for it. It seems like every single side quest and every single contract, it tells you who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, and what the stakes are. And it sets the picture really well. So you actually want to go out and do these things rather than just sort of sitting there. Grass. And I found it hard to keep on, like you said, keep on track with the main campaign. Doing the side quests.
I mean, this is something that I think Assassin's Creed could look at, because a side quest in Assassin's Creed and a side quest in this, I mean, climb up to the top of a building or go and hunt down a monster. It's insane how much different it is. And like you say, it does detract you from the main story, but it's not like a unpleasant distraction. It is something you want to do. And to be honest, I binned a lot of the main story for ages and ages, and it was only when I needed leveling up I thought I better crack on with the main story. That's
where you get your big bucks for leveling up, don't you, in those main campaigns. And what I will say is about losing track of what's going on, there is actually a if you can be bothered, there's a like a glossary in there that goes through each character, and you can actually read the outcome of your quests. There's a write-up on each of them, so you can catch up again if you do lose track, because there is so much stuff in this game. Like I said, 71 hours. I didn't complete every side quest. I got to a stage where I was like, right, I'm going to push for the main campaign now, and I've still got a shitload of side quests to do. 71 hours, that's insane. I thought it was insane when I played Fallout 3 for 73 hours, and that was with DLC. This is going to surpass that. And when they said, there's 100 hours of gameplay, I was like, yeah, jog on, mate, whatever. I actually think there is. I actually think if you sat there and did everything in that game, it'd be 100 hours, and it's all good. It's all good. 99% of it is good, and that's not. You don't say that often about a game. Normally, you get 60% good, 40% shit. And that's just the way you accept it with an open world game. You go, okay, they've got filler in there. None of this stuff feels like filler. It is fantastic. What's your favourite parts of The Witcher? Do you like the gameplay? Do you like hunting down the monsters? What do you make of the combat? Because I found it really hard to start with.
Yeah, I thought this combat it's something you need to get used to. And once you're used to it and you get on board with it, you sort of create your own style as well. Because you can, go all out attack, or you can be sort of quite clever with it and use spells and oils, or you can use magic. I just use loads of magic and just set everything on fire. Like after a battle, it was insane. Everything was scorched to hell. But that's just how I found it easiest to do. And like you said, you struggled with some bits. And
I was doing my nut, weren't I, to start with?
Yeah.
I was actually texting you going, I can't get on with this. And then, because I don't know, in my head I thought I could just run in, hack and slash everything, but you really can't. You have to really pick your moments to hit them, because you'll get countered, you'll get stunned, and you'll be put down within 3 or 4 blows. And we haven't even got it on the highest difficulty. We've got it on Blood and Broken Bones, which is the second highest, and it's still pretty unforgiving, especially in those early stages.
And all the sort of monsters in it are completely different, which is good as well. It's not like you're fighting the same thing that's been reskinned. No. You're fighting a completely different thing every single time, and there's and even on the sort of the glossary which you spoke about, it tells you and gives you information saying this is the best way to do it, and this is its weaknesses and things like that, and they all have their own set weaknesses, and it's so in depth. It really is. It is good.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like if you face a werewolf at midnight or at full moon, it'll be stronger and harder to beat. It's just like little dynamic things like that make so much of a difference. And like you said, all the creatures are different. They all react differently. You've all got to fight them differently. So you end up having to learn how to fight the creatures in a different way. Because you try and fight them all the same way, you're going to get killed. That's the end of it, really. There's 2 expansion passes that have been announced before the game. They've petered through and given us free DLC in the coming weeks. There's still more to come. They've added quests, they've added skins, armour, hairstyles, and all sorts of other stuff, which I think is good. I think they've added the quests, and because we mentioned earlier, the side quests are so well written, you've actually got something decent there. But speaking about the expansion pass specifically, one in October is the rumour, and one in Q1 next year, 10 hours and 20 hours respectively. You're going to invest in that? You've got to get through the main game first.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It warrants me buying them. It's that good a game. But it's not saying I'll be selling it. We're saying that I'll keep. And if I do get bored and there's nothing out, that is something you can buy and then lose another 10, 20 hours in, isn't it? Easily.
Easy. Yeah. Some games aren't even 10 hours long in their own sort of style, in their own way. Got to mention the beard growth. That's just so stupid, but just the fact that his beard grows as you're travelling through that shithole Velen. And to finish up, I mean, going back to Fallout 4, the one thing I'm worried about Fallout 4 is if the side quests are not up to the same level of detail as The Witcher, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be too worried about that, because I think they were really good. They were really good last time, weren't they? They weren't like boring or repetitive.
No.
And it's not the sort of... It's sort of slightly different, because with The Witcher you have a set 5 or 6 things you can do. So you have monster nests, Witcher hunt. With that, it's just you go to a town, you meet somebody, and you don't know what it's going to be. Literally, you have no idea. So it's a completely different sort of thing. But I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think Fallout.
But I think they've definitely set a benchmark for your secondary quests and your side quests and how you should do it. And like you said, other games should be taking a look and saying that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
I think they've achieved something special. Great job there. Let's move on to it. Batman Arkham Knight. It is out. You've enjoyed both the previous Batman games and also the Origins, which was not done by Rocksteady. How many hours have you put into this since it's come out?
Probably 4 or 5 hours, I'd say.
4 or 5 hours. That's an early impression. What are your early impressions of this? I've played probably about 3, maybe 4, I'd say.
The first couple of hours I thought were terrible. I was getting really annoyed with it. I thought it was really slow, really sluggish. But without giving too much away, something basically happens and it changes the sort of dynamic of the game. Everything feels faster, flows better. And since that's happened, I've really, really enjoyed it. I think it's been really, really good. The only problem I've got is the camera. When you go inside a building, when you're fighting, it's really hard to sort of look around, and
right up on top of you. It's too you can't. If someone can counter you from behind and quite easily hit you, and you're like, where's that come from?
So the camera angle inside buildings is really poor, to be honest. That's the only thing that bothers me. But I quite like the Batmobile. I didn't think I would like it, but I think it's quite cool, actually. It's quite good.
my biggest fear of this was that the Batmobile was going to be shit to drive around in, but it's actually pretty good. It's really smooth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like it just glides over the air, and you can drift in it. You can turn it into like a mini tank and whatnot.
It's completely different to driving. It's not like a racing car game or anything like that. You're driving down the streets. It drives completely differently. And I like the battle mode in it as well, where it actually completely changes it. It is very good, the Batmobile. I'm quite impressed by it.
Yeah, I think that's. I was thinking that's the main worry. I was hoping that they don't push it too much, and it's always got to be there. But it's certainly useful to have, and it is fun to drive around in and mess about. Doing like the little Riddler challenges, the little trials he sets up, they're quite good. Yeah, trying to go through those. What I really like about the actual combat is, and I think it's something new. I don't remember seeing this before. I mean, I played I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, not the Origins, but something called the Fear Takedown, where you kind of charge it up and you can stealth finish your multiple targets when you sneak up on them.
Yeah, that's new. That's new. That is. Yeah,
you can
that
train
is
it
quite
off.
Good.
I love doing that. It's one of my favourites because it makes it easier for me, and I'm not very good at this game. That's one of my problems. I am very, very poor at this game. I struggle to get like a two combo together before I get it.
Another thing with that though, with the fear, it's basically, to explain it, is you can quick attack 3 people.
Sure.
And basically, if you're inside a building again, it sort of slow-mos everything down, so it makes it look really good, but the camera can't keep up, and it can't get the right angles because it's sort of tight in a building. So again, I'm surprised that, nothing's been done about that, how they would play the game, look at it and think, well, that looks terrible. Like that bit of the game is really poor. But I can't believe they've let it run. But there might be some sort of update coming out, but I wouldn't have thought so because it's
pretty integrated, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless
it's like you've noticed sort of early doors going on. Let's get that sorted. Are you gonna go through and clear through the different objectives? Like, you're gonna go for the Riddler challenges? Like, it seems like there's a serial killer on the loose as well that you've got to track down. Are you gonna do all that stuff, or are you gonna stick to the main campaign, then maybe go back afterwards, or do you like trying to clear down the Batman games? Because there's quite a lot to do, it seems.
No, I like clearing it down. I think Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were the only 2 Xbox games where I ever got full. They used to do that G thing, didn't they? That was the only 2 games I ever done where I got full
shit.
Yeah, so that's how much detail I went into them. That's how much I really liked them. I'll go through and do the whole thing
and clear it all down.
Yeah.
Do you think? I can't remember the map size of Arkham City. Does this seem bigger? Does Arkham Knight feel bigger, or is it around the same size?
It does feel a little bit bigger, but I haven't it's a bit early doors because I don't know what else there is. I don't know if what you're seeing is what you're getting, or if there's any more to it.
Sure.
There's a couple of bits that are locked off, so obviously I don't know how big they are. You've only just got the map to see, but it does seem a little bit bigger. Yeah, I would say it is.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's early positive early impressions. I know the PC version has had a terrible launch, and it's struggling to maintain 30 frames per second, and that's a big deal for the PC games. I like to think it's running 60, and it's basically not playing very well, but thankfully we've both got it on the PlayStation 4 and it's running like a dream on that. Now, the main question I've got is that this game was only available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PCs. Does it feel like a next-gen Arkham Batman game, or does it feel just like a polished up older version?
But the fact you've mentioned it makes me think that you have already made up your mind.
Right, I've only played 4 hours, but I'm asking you, what do you think?
I thought it looked really, really good.
It looks good.
Genuinely thought it looked really, really good, with the rain and everything. But
yeah. Constant rain. They must have flood problems.
Yeah, they've got great.
Also, I'm not being funny.
drainage.
This is just a side bit, but if you lived in Gotham after the last 2 messes, you'd fucking move out, wouldn't you? You wouldn't let people. You'd know. You go, right, something's coming here. Why am I working here?
Who's the mayor of Gotham? Because they've fucked this city up. It is evacuation the 3rd time in 5 years. You haven't taken a piss.
That is it's an absolute shithole, that place. I don't know why people are sticking around.
But I know what you mean. If you took the Batmobile out of it.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think the Batmobile is what's like, I'm right, we need to put this on?
Yeah, because to be honest, if you took it out, it's pretty much the same as all the others. Nothing has changed massively, but I don't understand what else they could do with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a bit of a money spin. I mean, even though they've built the city, because Arkham Asylum obviously was set in the asylum first of all. I thought that one was still the best one.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Even
though focus, wasn't it? City was good, but it was great. It was great just to be able to glide around. But you really got a feel for the combat system in Asylum because you was in smaller confined areas, and you know, I struggle to traverse around on City and Night. Keep hitting things and stuff. I'm just not very good at these games. I still enjoy them, but definitely Asylum was probably the peak, and I think it is a bit of a sleeper hit as well. People weren't really expecting too much because normally when you get a superhero game like Spider-Man, it's shit. You expect to be shit, whereas Rocksteady really, I think, caught people by surprise with Arkham Asylum. But I think that's positive. I think we're looking at a good game here. Whether it'll have enough to see it through and be top game, I'm not so sure yet. The jury's still out, and we'll see how it goes. Just wanted to finish up on one of the announcements that happened in the past week or so. New PlayStation 4 model announced, so not surprised there because Xbox had announced their 1TB version of the Xbox One. So you're going to get a PlayStation 4. It's called the Ultimate Player Edition. 1TB hard drive. It's lighter, so if you pick it up, I don't know who's picking these things up, but if you want to use it for weights, don't get it because you're not going to get the same resistance out of it, and lower power consumption. Are you interested in that?
Not really. My one's doing fine, and I work out regularly with my PS4, so it's
perfect.
Yeah.
Isn't it? In your off time.
I understand why they've released it, but to me it seems suspicious because they must have realised when they made it how much memory that these games took up. Yeah. So it's like they've made it purposely not as big as. They had the technology.
Would upgrade.
Yeah, they had the technology back there to make it from 500 gigabytes to a terabyte.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That technology was absolutely available. I refuse to believe they didn't have that technology. Nah. So yeah,
money spinner.
It is in my eyes. Yeah.
Another money spinner. What a terrible state the video game industry is in. I think that's it. We'll wrap this up. So if you guys at home want to get in contact with us, you can do. You can tweet us at Dimp Digital. You can also like and post on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Dimp Digital, or email us using the email address dimpdigitalmedia@gmail.com. Remember to check out our Dimp Digital YouTube channel where you can see the full Witcher 3 review and some other fantastic video content that's going up all the time. So make sure you subscribe and be sure not to miss out. That's it for now. Game over. It's goodbye from Biff.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time and ta-da.
Yesterday to buy this, and I was just getting proper stressed by it. She was like, do you want the guy? I was like, I'll just have that please. She went, oh, for the extra £5 you can get the Red Hood edition, and I was like, well, this is 50 quid, so 55 is taking the piss. So I was like, no, I don't want that. And she was like, do you want a 12-month season pass? And I was like, how much is that? And she went, it's 40 quid. And I was like, fucking hell, what? I'm paying 50 quid for this. You want me to pay 90 quid? And she went, what? You'll get 6 months worth of, or 12 months worth of free downloadable content for 6.
Ain't free, I paid 40 quid for it.
I was like, how has this come to fruition where it's 90 quid to play everything that this game has to offer? And she was like, oh, do you want this half price strategy guide? And I was like, fuck off. I don't want any of this stuff. If I'd have bought the strategy guide, the Red Hood edition, and the fucking season pass, it would have come to £110 or something, I worked out. I was like, for a fucking game. They're taking that. It's Batman. It's not fucking. I'm going to change my life.
Well, it hasn't even got Gwent in it, so.
Exactly.
Give me the skins like they do on The Witcher for free.
Yeah.
And if they're going to release something, like they're going to do, like there's a season pass, 20 quid, it's 30 hours combined, both bits. That's worth paying 20 quid.
Yeah, yeah.
Not for fucking Batmobile tracks.
Yeah.